of Koodles, commonly known as Hollywood Harry, has been spotted wandering the grounds of Universal Studios Hollywood. If you know the whereabouts of this clown, do not approach him. He is extremely dangerous. Share to make aware of Hollywood Harry and stay safe.
In 2016, Halloween Horror Nights and Crypt TV, along with Eli Roth, would partner to bring forth Hollywood Harry, a clown that once worked for Universal Studios supposedly, but was fired. Harry became a recluse on the back lot and would be featured in a year 2016 that featured all kinds of icons. We said it was one of the better years of Halloween Horror Nights LA. And here we are in our retrospective video. It wasn't until you got on this tram that you were even given the full backstory, man. And again, we're leaving the Sharp Productions logo in there so you know whose POV we're using. But like, you didn't get a lot of this information. I think Crypt TV may have released another video about Koodles the Clown, but essentially like Universal fired this guy who was once like bozo fame. You know, Koodles goes completely off the deep end after being fired. And
circus attendance plummeted, and Kapowitz's fortunes along with him. No longer employed in the theme park, Kapowitz was working as an unpaid street performer outside the studio gates. A few years later, he was unceremoniously kicked off the property altogether due to his increasing...
And there you go. Koodles was performing like a performer on Sunset Boulevard until Universal told him he couldn't anymore. And then now he retreated into the Hollywood Hills. And there was a fire. We thought Koodles was probably dead, but all of a sudden now he's starting to pop up on the backlot again. That's the backstory that you kind of get leading into being dropped off on the Terror Tram. Again, this is coming off of like 2, 3, maybe even as far as 4 years of Terror Tram being horrible. And then Eli Roth comes on board and creates this character along with the help of Crypt TV to, I think, produce these films at Universal Studios that, you know, he was very heavily involved in. He was there on opening night doing press. Eli Roth was with Jack Davis, Crypt TV co-founder that we used to be affiliated with. But Terror Tram was always so cool because it would drop you off, and here you are. And there was Koodles the Clown, a.k.a. Hollywood Harry with his balloons, and he was just standing there, and he was creepy.
I hear chainsaws.
And the chainsaws, of course, are always there to greet you right off the get-go with Terror Tram. Again, if you're tuning into the podcast side of these, or if you're watching the video and you're wondering about the podcast, we're going to drop one of these every 5 videos. The videos are about 15 minutes a piece, somewhere around there, sometimes a little bit less. So every 5 videos will be compiled into one Hauntcore history podcast. And this is the show that takes the POV retrospective, gives a little bit of backstory, gives my thoughts on what happened that year or that particular haunt or thing. And sometimes we may be doing like a defending video, like defending a maze that was good or bad or whatever. These clowns in the Bates Motel. I don't have like the fondest recollection. Like I don't remember these ones specifically because I remember more about what is coming around the corner when we get around the corner here.
Certified police officer.
And starting right here, like Hollywood Harry in person, like that mask, this cop is pretty great. But Hollywood Harry is terrifying looking. Look at him. He's scary. He looks almost like a zombie.
To protect and serve ice cream. Oh my god! Sorry.
And this guy just wants attention.
It says to protect and serve ice cream, but I don't see any ice cream.
It says to protect and serve ice cream, but she doesn't see any ice cream again. Thanks, Sharp Productions, for... So we shout you out for reusing your video of this POV of what Terror Tram 2016 was. I mean, at this point, when we had been going through it, like I think we thought that this was way better than what we, had encountered in multiple of the previous years. And we're not even to truly like what is the best part of the entire Terror Tram yet. Like this is still like we're in the parking lot of Bates. These guys are still just kind of staggered. Clowns are just slaughtering people. Hollywood Harry on the other side just slit a guy's throat. Like that guy, that Hollywood Harry, like I've always thought of, he's kind of feral, the noises he's making.
Ruined my view.
Clowns on the hills, man. And you can see this line is super backed up of I've never it's the magic of editing though. We cut to the top of the hill, but there was a ton of people when these guys were there. Like look at this. Will we ever see Horror Nights like that? In 2016 that's totally normal. Will we ever see it like that again? I don't know. But then you walked into this, and so this truly, in the moment when you were there live, this felt like a mini Hollywood Harry maze. Because you came into that first train car, and there he is. He's cutting this guy or girl up. Probably depending on when you came through it. And now you're into another, like, storage car, train car, and these clowns or monsters would come in like toxic tunnel style. They weren't above getting in your face. But like look at this scene here. Like this is cool. And he's gnarly. But then we get like these Island of Dr. Moreau, like half animal, half human people. Like this guy. It's like half person, half alligator.
Muted features. Whoa, what happened to him?
And this dude with like a melted face with a dog. It's like a bomb went off and they molded. But then with the circus music in the War of the Worlds, like this is always the coolest thing. This dude's like half goat or something. Like, will the scare actors ever be allowed to do any of this? Touch you with their props, get that close to you ever again? I don't think it will happen. I don't know, though.
Just keep coming. think they're funnier than they are. What was that about? Firemen are supposed to
This
help
guy.
people.
The clowns are painted like in the section of War of the Worlds. Some of the clowns are painted like old school painting, like their beard, 5 o'clock shadow clown firemen. But then some of them are gnarly looking.
Ooh. I don't think
And
I'm
at this
gonna watch
point,
out.
we were calling this like the best Halloween Horror Nights of all time, 2016.
Oh, ice cream truck.
You know, these clowns are all burned up and crazy.
That's the car I want. Maybe we'll just like drive it off the lot and repaint it. Is that guy real or fake? I think he's
And you
fake.
made your way into like one more tent that was like a
Their eyes aren't
clown's
moving, so that's
face.
Sorry.
And it was pretty wild stuff, man. This guy's strung up.
You're a clown already, but they don't like each other either.
But I remember if you go back to the 2016 podcast, you can pretty much listen to us and know that like we think that this is the best Halloween Horror Nights year of all the years. And it ended right there with him chopping that dude in half. And you came through and down the ramp, and that was pretty much that was pretty much it. Hollywood Harry saw you one more time there. And so yeah, man, Hollywood Harry and Universal Studios, they did a great job. Please like, comment, subscribe, tell us what you thought of this year.